But we digress slightly.
And then we tend to.
Yeah.
Those of us from the Hudson Valley.
Yeah. I happen to be
we
one of those too.
We have plenty of time.
Yeah. But is this, let's talk a little bit about the scope of the project, because you identified the concept, which is you want to look back and you want to find how these feelings and these sort of sense of legacy and history and family, how those emotions were expressed through the voices of various poets. And then you didn't stop there, though, because you decided then you were also going to dive into the lives and the backstory and the history of each one of the poets. So what made you keep going in that way?
Well, I became fascinated by the people once I had entered into their worlds. Robert Louis Stevenson, I wanted to know, who was he? And why did he create this beautiful collection of poetry? Why was he interested in writing children's poetry? What was his connection? And I was amazed by the things I discovered. Like Christina Rossetti had written this beautiful collection of poems, but it was full of elegies. And I thought, she must have had children, they must have died, it was Victorian England, this was a very common occurrence. And as it turned out, she was a spinster. She never married, but she wrote this beautiful... The poem that I ended up adapting is this beautiful poem of self-sacrifice, of maternal self-sacrifice, that she must have observed maybe in her mother or in friends, but not in her own life.
And then there was the poet Arthur Macy, who was hard to find anything about.
I had several really obscure ones. We'll be doing one later by Natalie Crane, who was a 10-year-old girl from Brooklyn, who wrote a book called The Janitor's Boy. It was like an extensive study upon her crush, the superintendent of her building's son. And she became a national celebrity. Her book went in, I think it had 5 editions by the time she was 16.
And what year was that? What was
1924.
1924.
And then I had Wynton Marsalis write a phenomenal, really pure jazz arrangement of the period.
Oh, that's cool. Is it a challenge to spend so much time doing research and learning about the stories and the backstories and the poets and the lives of this time, another time in another place, and still keep the vision of the music fresh, and did you have to fight sort of over, I guess maybe having too much information as you're going in to record and make these things come to life?
Well, sometimes I was informed by the period that the poet lived, but sometimes I completely contradicted, like William Bridie Rance, who was a British poet, another Victorian. I decided to put his poem to a reggaeton, a reggaeton. Reggaeton, man.
Yeah,
Airi.
Man. Another thing.
But it was really fun that another thing I did. Well, when I was saying that I wanted to pick people to collaborate with me who were extremely authentic and pure. So of course I had a reggae band. The guitar player told me he played guitar for Toots and the Maytals for 25 years, and that's my favorite reggae band. Yeah. And Wynton doing the jazz material, and the Klezmatics doing the Balkan folk, and I had a Chinese music ensemble. The Horseflies, I borrowed Judy and Richie from the Horseflies to do the string band stuff, and we had a Cajun button accordion player, and all sorts of, every song was a different style of music.
More than 30 musicians, right, who played on the project, something like that?
More than 30? Yeah. 130.
130.
Yeah, because we had a 26-piece chamber orchestra.
Oh, yeah.
We broke the bank with this one, and I funded it myself, so I'm well aware of whose bank was broken.
So if you really love Natalie Merchant, you know what to do.
Don't steal my record. I'm going to feel it deep in my heart. No, I look at it as I had, as you enumerated my many years of success, I had the good fortune of being successful, and I decided what I would do is, rather than going begging for money from banks or from institutions like record companies, that I would just be my own patron. So I did that.
It's good to, yeah. Well, you are... See, it's already worth it.
Feels good to be home.
Yeah.
I can't breathe. My head is pounding. I was like, are we over a mile above sea level, or is it just me?
No, it turns out it's you. It's just you, really. You know, you're clearly a values-driven, you know, a smart person. You're passionate about human rights and environment and other things like that. There's a quote on your website that says, Natalie Merchant is indubitably a fundamentally decent and caring person, and as loathsome as those qualities might be in others, we can forgive her because she sings like an angel.
That was an Irish journalist, I think. That's Irish humor for you.
That's Irish humor.
As loathsome as those qualities might be in others.
Yeah.
We'll forgive him for her.
And you mentioned the horseflies. It's nice to have those guys along. Is that something that's a long history you've got with us?
Yeah. Actually, Jeff Klaus wrote this song, Sally Ann, which I recorded on The House Carpenter's Daughter, and tonight will be the, oops, am I giving something away?
Oh, you know.
Tonight we're going to do it together for the first time.
Cool. Exciting. Well, I also want to mention, we're about to go back to music. Before we do, I want to mention that the project, Leave Your Sleep, is also an amazing looking project. It's got some stories, photographs, background about the poets, but it's also just a beautiful looking package. And I don't know whether you're thinking about this in a deeper context as a teaching tool or as a body of work that will somehow you know, be inspiring to not just librarians, but students and kids. And,
population in general.
Yeah, population in general, okay. But I think it was put together with such a sort of a thoughtfulness that it seemed to me that you were imagining a wide, not just a musical life for it. Is that true?
That's true. And I've already had several teachers write to me and approach me and tell me they're using it in their classes already, and it's only been out for a week and a half.
Oh, okay, there you go.
They couldn't help themselves.
So you're on to something. Yeah.
Actually, I gave a copy to my daughter's teacher, and she's been using it already in her class. So
that's cool.
It's gratifying because it was definitely a thought that I had. I didn't think I could ever create anything that could be a standardized part of any curriculum, but as supplemental teaching material, it would be really fun. And people have told me over the years that they've used my lyrics for that. And I thought this would be a way to steer those same sort of educators toward this project.
The odds are good, and you did a lot of love, a lot of work, a lot of labor, a lot of research went into this. So congratulations. We're going to get back to music and hear a little more of it.
Thank you.
Welcome back to eTown, Natalie Merchant.